All right. So today's prophet, often pronounced Habakkuk, but it's probably better said Habakkuk. Habakkuk. Not Habakkuk, but Habakkuk. Uh, it's another short one, only 3 chapters. But man, is it a fascinating book, especially perhaps right now. We have the prophet Habakkuk has kind of like, remember in Job, there's this conversation back and forth of Job and his friends, Job and his other friend, Job, and eventually Job and God, and Job and God. Here we are. Habakkuk begins the book. It's almost like Habakkuk's looking over the world with God, right? Look at the nations. I have cried out violence and injustice, and what are you doing? It kind of reminds me of the Psalms, actually. This conversation. So chapter 1 is Habakkuk coming to God and being like, dude, this is bad. It's my executive summary. The rulers are wicked. Justice is everywhere. War, all this bad stuff. What are we doing here, right? This is the lodged prophecy here. God, what's happening? And then we have God's response in chapter 2, similar, like I said, to Job. And again, God responds in profound ways and wisdom, but also with prophecy. There's consequences for the actions that Habakkuk lifts up. It also makes clear that God's making sure that Habakkuk knows I haven't missed any of this, by the way. I got a plan. The world will not always be this way. So help me, God. Being God in this case. Anyway, it's funny too. There's this famous verse that is used by Paul, other epistles. It's used by Luther. The righteous shall live by faith. Habakkuk 2:4. Part of God's response to Habakkuk. The righteous shall live by faith, even in the face of all this chaos and problems in the world. Maybe this is topical for you. And so we have this call of Habakkuk, response from God, and then chapter 3 is almost like a liturgy or a psalm. You can be either. I lean towards liturgy. We talk about liturgy is the order of service, if you will, right? Or parts of the service. The psalms are usually expressive. They're art pieces. This feels more like a prayer to me, a liturgy. We have this great conversation. We have this experience together, almost a worship experience, and this is my expression of it now. This is the prophet Habakkuk, and it's beautiful. And it touches on the themes, of course, that were mentioned in the conversation. Just like you hope that the liturgy and worship touches on the themes from the gospel passage and the other passages you have in the readings and hopefully the sermon, right? It all kind of flows together. So I choose to do it as liturgy. But hey, if you're like, this sounds more like a psalm to me, that's fine. So, if you're looking for a book that's a prophetic take in a different delivery, right? It's more conversational, literally. It has this interesting finish. If you're a worship nerd like myself, maybe this is one to check out. I'd also say, again, it's a shorter book. So if you're not looking for a taxing read, you can read the whole thing in 5 minutes, no problem. It's very short. But it has tremendous depth, I think, actually. Especially in times where maybe perhaps if you're feeling like the world is out of your control, it's falling apart, you don't see a way forward, God, why aren't you doing something? Maybe this book would be good for you to read. The Book of Habakkuk.